Do I like Trump? He's Mr. Politically Incorrect, which I really respect today because I consider political correctness really repressive. So, what he's doing is really showing how repressive political correctness is by triggering all the political correct people and making them look like idiots.
Dancing fearless.
I'm a fan of Jordan Peterson, which I think is really today's teacher of the philosophy of freedom, which I can back up. I've done videos on it. I could show you everything Jordan Peterson says, and I can show you where it says the same thing in the philosophy of freedom. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I believe that if Steiner were alive today, he would be very much like Jordan Peterson, who has identified the threat of today as socialism and political correctness. And I think he's right in that. But I think it's Jordan Peterson's a real indication of how well you understand the philosophy of freedom. Getting back to Trump, of course, I had the impression that, well, he's really crazy. He's very rude and impolite, and why is he triggering all these people? But over time, I'm starting to see that there's a real brilliance and service behind it all, and that's to expose radical threat to the country right now, which I think America is very important to the world. I mean, people all over the world look to America to hold the ideals of freedom, such as are in the Bill of Rights. Of course, America has its flaws, but at the core, I mean, everybody wants to come here. I mean, they're risking their lives to come here, and that's I think is because of for most people, it's freedom. Trump is doing a great job now to really expose the threat to freedom that's happening right now in the social justice movement. And I've done videos on that. So in a sense, I think he's kind of a politically incorrect genius. If you're a reactive person that goes into a rage every time Trump says something, I mean, there's really something about you need to work on. Especially if you have any intelligence, he's just playing people to expose them. But it's Trump is a very fascinating person in the sense that you have to understand, why is this guy so successful? How did he destroy the Bush family? How did he destroy the Clinton family? I mean, nobody can defeat these people. I mean, how did the guy get elected president? I mean, so you have to start looking a little deeper to find out where his genius is. I mean, Trump speaks like a man that you're going to see in a tavern or something, the common man. He speaks the language of the common man, and the common man understands that things are exaggerated. The truth is exaggerated, and it's just part of the language. I mean, like myself, I grew up in the Midwest. I'm prone to, when I'm talking just off the cuff to friends or something, I tend to exaggerate everything like crazy. It's kind of a way of talking. Now, some people are saying that our president needs to be, hold this high standard of correctness, but which has been the standard in the past. See, when you have cultural norms like political correctness, it's part of the whole group conformity, group think way of looking at the world, and there's a rising desire for individual freedom, and part of individual freedom is leaving the group mind and the group identity and develop your own identity. So Trump kind of indicates a complete rejection of all the political norms of what a president is supposed to be, and he doesn't really care because he values individuality. Now, of course, when it comes to individuality, it's much more difficult to understand a person because you have to take in all these considerations of who is this unique individual. and like how he speaks. I mean, if you're just part of the group mind and the group identity, or say the group identity of what it means to be a president, well, then you just have these external standards that you judge the presidents on, which has nothing to do with individuality. It has to do with a group standard, social norm. So if you decide, if you're a real individual and you reject those norms, then you're not going to try to be the politically correct president. You're going to express yourself. Like normally, you're not going to want to alienate everybody. But like I said, there's a genius in Trump's alienating people. I mean, everything about him is unique. You really have to think about it a lot, which people are starting to figure him out now. But that's the way it's going to be with every individual. You can't just throw up your norms of behavior and then judge the person. You have to really get to know the specific individual to understand them. If they're an individual, you've got to talk to them and ask them mainly. So what do you really think? Which I find Trump to be very honest. I mean, when he says stuff, he's usually telling you what he really thinks, which allows you then to understand him.